Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. Super Dave here with another exciting action figure review, and this time a Masters of the Universe Origins figure. I do not collect Origins figures, but in this case I wanted to make an exception. I wanted to check out this cool filmation cartoon version of Teela. I just can't afford to collect all of the incarnations of MOTU that we're seeing out now. I primarily lean more toward the Masterverse line and of course the classics before that. But I've picked up a few Origins figures just to see if it would integrate well, whether a head swap, which is what I'm really interested in with this one, or an accessory like the mechanical horse, to see if they fit in scale somewhat with the Masterverse figures. Now, this is going to be extremely too small to fit in with the scale, but I do want to see if this head sculpt will match. But just look at this beautiful packaging here. Just so nice. Heroic warrior goddess Teela, the filmation version or cartoon collection version of the Origins line. And I really didn't like the He-Man face that much, even though I may get that eventually. And I really didn't like the Man-at-Arms. It just didn't look like the filmation to me. But I really like the way Stratos and Merman and Trapjaw, it looks like this wave, they're just getting closer, in my opinion, to the look that filmation had. So that's cool. Even comes with the training robot, some of the other accessories that it shows that Teela comes with. So let's take a look at this awesome Teela from the cartoon collection of Origins over here in Eternia. And first, taking a look at our Teela and her accessories. And first of all, she comes with her trusty sword, which is very filmation-esque. It's really cool, as well as a very simple, kind of shiny and dull looking simple shield there, but also simple enough to be considered, I guess, cartoonish. And then the little battle robot that has the little blade here, or this little cannon looking thing here. I guess this is supposed to be an eye in the center there, but those arms will articulate. And then she has a little mini comic as well that she comes with back there, so that's cool. That is fully illustrated and colored, Time's End. But just look at that excellent face sculpt. But we'll look at that a little closer here as we look at our Teela's articulation. Alright, so bringing in our little training robot. As I said, his little sword will rotate, his little arm will rotate up and down, and the little cannon will rotate up and down. It would have been nice if they had put like a little peg hole in the bottom so that you could have pegged him in on one of the stands like we have with other figures, but it's still a neat little item. It could have used a little bit of paint apps to brought it alive a little bit more, but it's still a cool little relic from the show. And then of course, again, we have our sword here, which looks really good. It's got a shine to it, and it's really well made, I think, overall. Kind of a cheap looking shield, but she holds it well. Very, very flimsy, cheap plastic feel. But these figures, and I'm comparing it to like Super 7's quality of like their filmation style, or their, I guess, 5.5-inch style. These are just really well made. I mean, the clothing, that rubber, like on the bosom area, is just, and the collar is just very stiff. This head sculpt just looks phenomenal. I think this is what's selling this figure to me and to many of you. I feel like they bombed somewhat the He-Man head, as well as especially the Man-at-Arms. It looks just squashed together. But I do believe this head's going to be a little too small for the Masterverse, but we'll look at that in comparisons here in just a moment. She's able to look up about that much. She's able to look down pretty much all the way. She does have excellent tilt, which looks really good, of course, side to side. Her arms will go all the way 360. She has no bicep swivel, but you get that elbow swivel and single jointed elbows. Also swivel and hinge, vertical hinge at the wrist. She'll be able to strike a T pose there. Looking at that on both sides. We don't get any kind of diaphragm joint here at all. Just get a rotation at the waist. Still get splits at the legs. You don't get any kind of thigh swivel. You get single jointed knees, but you also get to swivel at the knees, single jointed knees. Let's see, yep, we get boot cut. You're gonna go full tiptoes, go up all the way, and excellent rockers with a peg hole in on the bottom. So excellent articulation for an Origins figure. I especially love the head articulation, and just that face sculpt on this Teela looks really good. I mean, it's not an exact match to the Filmation or cartoon, but it's a doggone good face sculpt. Very beautiful, very nice looking, and she just has the figure that we think of, you know, from the back there. It just looks like she leaped out of the Filmation cartoons. Looks really good. Very simple. Could have used a little bit of a wash, I think, on the chest of some sort, maybe, but overall, excellent. Good paint apps on the face, though. Really nice. All right, let's go ahead now and do some comparisons. Okay, so here we have our Filmation cartoon Origin style Teela next to our Super 7 Classics Teela that's more the Filmation style. Now notice that is not the head that she came with. That is a Hordak MX head sculpt, which was, trust me, much better than the one she came with. They just cannot get female faces right in the classic style, but they did a pretty good job, I felt like, in this one. This is the original Classics Teela. The original Classics Teela, which all that detail, the Four Horsemen did an excellent job. Just look at that head sculpt, very beautiful. And also came with like the snake gear for her head sculpt and that nice sword and shield there. But then we have the Masterverse Teela, Captain of the Guard type Teela with her hair up. And then also came, that same figure came with the hair down. As you can see there, I've just got two of them. So I was able to show you both. Hair down, kind of hair disheveled after she tore off that tiara and threw it down and shook her hair out. That's that image there where she had kind of a scowl on her face from the Revelation cartoon. But yeah, this looks like a little kid's toy next to these other ones, and I think the head's going to be too small, but we'll test that here in just a moment on the Masterverse figures. So let's go ahead and check the head sculpt swapping. So unfortunately, not only is the skin tone wrong, and not only is the head way too small, it will not go on that socket. It is way smaller. The socket on the Origins is much smaller than the socket that comes on the Masterverse figures. You can see that here. It's hard to tell maybe in the video, but it is. It's a very small hole compared to the Masterverse, and I did try heating it up, and it's a shame because that is such a lovely head sculpt. They did such an excellent job. Look at those eyes. Just really good. Yeah, you can see, I mean, it flops around on that one really loose. It's just way too big because it's not designed for that head. And even if you do heat it up a whole lot, the hair dryer, and force it on there like I just did, it just doesn't look right. It's way too small. It's like someone shrunk her head. So that's unfortunate. If it just had been a little bit bigger, we could have swapped heads and had, because you know the men, usually their heads swap pretty good with the Masterverse, but not the females here. But she just looks so good on her own merits. Even at that scale, she just looks excellent. I mean, just look at the comparison. I mean, Mattel did a better job to me than even Hordak MX, and he always does an excellent job painting his head sculpts. But this one's even better. It's just too small. But the classics, Club Grayskull, Filmation, cartoon, whatever you want to call it, in the classics that Super 7 did, I mean, this Duncan, they knocked it out of the park. It was perfect. And I felt like even their Filmation Prince Adam knocked it out of the park with their Club Grayskull Filmation style Prince Adam. And then there's the classics that came with Queen Marlena's Cringer, and I can't wait to get that Origins Cringer, because I do believe that even though that's a small Prince Adam on, you know, this scale, that Prince Adam and Cringer pack that's going to come out later this year, I think that Cringer is going to be even a little larger than this one. So I think it'll go great with the Masterverse. Better than the Cringer we got by taking off the armor of Battlecat in the Masterverse line. So that's going to be exciting. But there you have it. And we appreciate you joining us today for this awesome review of an Origins character for a change. But I'm not going to be doing all the Origins characters, so you have to check out some other channels like Manchild and others that do those. They do an excellent job. Thank you very much, and be blessed, and we'll see you on the next one.